Welcome to our international podcast, Below the Belt. Who vex lose, folks, wherever you're joining us from. We hope you guys are having a fantastic day wherever you folks join us from around the world. So glad to have each and every one of you with us on our international podcast. Welcome. Today, we're talking with the one and only Amanza Walton Desir, the co host of our morning program, FYI, for your information. Amanda's overseas on assignment at this time, but she's going to be joining us for a little bit. Guys, she's going to be joining us for a little bit and telling us so much of business, what she's doing overseas. And as well, we're going to be talking about the PPP who are fighting a war on all fronts locally, folks. All fronts locally. We can talk about that. Some things happening at Candy, the Indigenous End in Berbice Region 6 in particular. We're going to be talking about some of the action on the ground there. And good to see Candy Laline Indigi joining us as well. Folks, she is here. She says big shout out to the folks in Caribbean. Big shout out to the folks there. We're seeing Anesta Abridge is joining us too, and June Chase. Good afternoon to all of you beautiful, fantastic people. We see Roxanne Garway is here too. Lorian Garnett, Joyce Albert, Susan Halley is here as well. Good to see Karen Thorne, Paula Mattis, Travonza Williams. Travonza, how are you doing? Good to see you there. Vanessa Andrews is with us too, and Magnell Barrow, and we see Claire Capel is here too, and Tessa Isaacs, Gravesandi, Stanborn, Claire Alexis Chomley, Richmond. Guys, we're so privileged to have you. Trying to find my breath here. So very, very privileged to have you folks. Would have it no other way. Would have it no other way. Guys, and again, we're going to be joined by Amanda Walton Desire. She's going to join us for just a few, talking about what's happening there where she is, and she's going to let us know. Those are some of y'all don't know, guys. Y'all fast, y'all track people, y'all mind people business. So y'all don't know, but we're going to be catching up with Amanda herself. We're going to catch up with the lady herself. And take the opportunity, folks, as you come into the live stream to share the broadcast, share. I'm doing my share action. And also, you got to smash the emoji button for us, right? Smash the emoji button for us, folks. And that's going to do us a world of good in getting this information out credible and valid. Myrna Monroe, we see you there, and Dawn Barnes, and I see Chenille Belgrave, and Paulette Hawk Kippins is here too. I see Cherry Baskin Greenwich, and I see Myrna, and Desiree Simon, Liverpool. Desiree, how are you doing? We hope you are well, Desiree, and we're sending nothing but positive energy your way and positive energy the way of each and every one of our viewers. Go, folks, we hope that things are going great where you are. We see Tamika Williams is here too, and Thomasina is here with us as well. Hazelin King has dropped by. Thomasina Ben is here with us. Tamika Williams, Hazelin King. I see Tulsi Narayan is here. Good to see each and every one of you guys. We really hope that you guys are having a great time, irrespective of which part of the political aisle you find yourself. At least we could be agreeable that we can all go there and have a great day. We can be agreeable with that is. Folks, go ahead and go and have a great time. Go ahead and be great, guys. Go ahead and be great. Good to see Avril Jacobs. Good to see Kunaya. Mingo is with us as well. Good to see. I see Paulette Hicks. Rita Clark. Rita, how are you doing? How are you doing? Trust that you guys are going to be having something fairly decent for lunch today as we do our bit here. I'm just going to have perhaps a little soda to start to wet the palate. All right. As some people say, to wet the beak, we're going to be just having a little soda. And who knows what our technical guy who's with us for the podcast, he's going to be having behind the scenes. These are some very bushy people. He might be having some great poop on, the kind of thing, some little rotisserie chicken and so forth, such and so forth. With us, we just simple people. We just have a little drink, a little swunk or something, and move along, folks. Move along. Good to have each and every one of you with us, guys. It's our privilege. Farouk Haq is here. Farouk Hack is here. Farouk Hack is here with us, and we're happy to have Farouk. Farouk seems to be in a mood. I don't know what's bothering him, but we're going to get to the bottom of that soon enough. We've got to have Andrew Cuthbert here as well. Pace and power. Andrew says, pace and power. Michaela Webster is in the hizza. Michaela, good to see good to see you. Michaela and Pauline Kisoon, sorry, Patricia Kisoon. I'm seeing my own thing, folks. The old eyes, is either the eyes or is hunger. What? Or it's both. Whichever, both all two. Karen Thorne, good to see you as well. Patricia Kisoon, good to see you. Dawn Barnes, good to see you. I see Koana Mingo, and good to see you. Is it Ajona? Ajona McCollin, good to see you, Ajona. Folks, I wish I had a little soda. What I wouldn't do for a little soda. The guys are gonna grab me something as we move along to wet the beak, to wet the beak, to wet the beak, folks, to wet my palate, to prepare it for what's to come after to prepare for what's coming up. Guys, good to see so many of you. Smash the emoji button for us. Share the live stream as well. We could ask for no better audience, no better viewers, no better listeners than you folks. Candace and more. How are you doing, Candace? So good to have you. So good to have you, Candace. What we can tell you is we were happy to have you. Happy to have you coming by. Happy to have you coming by. Guys, we are tracking so many things before Amanda join us. Do you know the American Embassy put out a little statement warning their citizens against unaccompanied visits to Stabrook Market, that is, and Border Market. Yep. That's to tell you the way things are going. Irfan told us once about the way the crime situation is going and talking about high risk Saturday, but the guys are waiting now. The guys are not even waiting for high risk Saturday. They're knocking you down during the week too. They are knocking you down during the week as well. Thank you, my brother, who has brought me some soda. I'm so happy. hmm I'm just gonna wet the beak there. And the soda I'm having, guys, is like it's just the right amount of cold. The soda you pick up where it's just about to start freezing. You got those flints of ice in it. That's the right temperature soda. The right temperature. So again, folks, the U.S. government warning its citizens against unaccompanied visits to the Stabrook markets and border market. Stabrook market and border market, warning the citizens there to not go unaccompanied. That's the information we're picking up. Do not, they say, go unaccompanied to these markets as far as possible. So, folks, some guys think and we may have a few trenches and the jagabats listening to us even now, some of them think that we try to be we just go out of our way to be negative. Well, we can tell the embassy now, we can tell the embassy, where is the crime prevention plan, where is all of that, what Ben doing, right? I'd like to be positive. If you see positive things, to report them. I love that. Sometimes you go scraping, looking for positive things because there aren't any. I'm sad to say, but that's the fact. What we can tell you, SMC, that if I had come and say people robbing and thieving by the markets, since the people come in, y'all don't go wrong there. Y'all can say negative, but we didn't see this when the other folks were in government. We didn't see the Americans saying don't go Stamrock Market and don't go to Border Market, but we're seeing it now. What you want me to say? How you want me to fix this for you? How you want me to spin this? How you want me to propagandize this? Huh? How you want me to gobbles this information for you? That's how it is. But we got to work on this. It is an opportunity for the PPPC to know they ain't doing nothing where security is concerned, especially we ain't touched some of the other areas yet. And they got to pick themselves up. They got to pick themselves up and fight forward. Fight the bandits. Don't fight me. Go there and fight the bandits. Right? Don't carry us to the meetings you're having and so forth and get beside yourself. Right? And talking us down. Oh, it's them boys. In the ring, in the ring, in the ring. Below the belt, below the belt. FYI, FYI. No. You just recalibrate your attitude, your work ethic, and your plans and programs. And you're going to see how far you can go. You can see how far you go. So that's one of the things we're following on that front. Who vex? Who vex lose? That's the nature of the podcast. Who vex lose? Yeah, vex. We talk the things. Move forward. Michaela, good to see you. Elizabeth. No, right? We know Elizabeth is one of our foreigners. Elizabeth, when you come, this is the American embassy for her. This is the American embassy for us. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do you one more than that. I'm gonna drop the link if you all think we're joking here. I'm gonna drop the link to the report that we're looking at, and you can see. So, Elizabeth, when you come home and so on, you gotta mind the markets. That's what the folks telling us. Mind the markets, mind how you are going about. Right? Mind the markets, we line. We don't have time for that. We don't have the energy for that, folks, to bring in foolish news for you guys. Right? If it is newsworthy, we bring it here so you guys can get credible and valid information. That's what we're about. And the American embassy has informed its members of staff to avoid the markets. They said a lot of things happening there. Avoid being robbed. It's the facts. Look, let me trace this to you. You know, former mayor of Linden, Mr. Carwin Holland, even though he didn't tell we coming home, even though Carwin and even tell we coming home, you understand me? So we kept taking a small piece and so on, right? Even even though Carwin Holland, right, didn't tell us he's coming home, Carwin is here, and what are the odds? You coming home after a little while out here in the cold? Yes, cold biting Carwin in Canada. So he come home for a little warmth and so on. We ain't vex, right? We ain't vex. Right? We just didn't want you to come home for them reasons alone. Come to see we and so on. But you had that happening, and he's home. He is driving past this area here, um, on Mandela Avenue, and told us he made a post a couple of days ago. He could have flew out by now, and he talked about seeing a young man being robbed and stepping in to help. So who vex? This is the facts. Listen to what Karen Holland, former Lord Mayor of the municipality of Linden. I can sip this drink a second. Hmm. That's a big sip, people. mm. Oh, that tastes so good. That tastes so good. So nice and gotta do it twice. Gotta take a slurp twice, guys. But having said that, and having upset some of you there with my slurping or the information, why don't you? Here is what former mayor of Linden said on social media. He said, Guyana, oh Guyana, I was driving on Mandela Avenue, just around the famous roundabout at the south entrance, where I saw this young man, Tulsi, being robbed. Tulsi being robbed. Two young men rode up across the road on a white motorcycle just as Tulsi disembarked a bus and crossed the road to make his way to work. No one came to his assistance. I noticed this whilst driving and steered my vehicle to get closer to him. I sounded the horn and shouted at the robbers who only managed to take away his phone. I tried to reverse behind him as he ran towards south. This is the bandit that is, but traffic wouldn't allow. In his bid to escape, the thief fell at a drain and hurt himself. Good fee. No one assisted, and traffic wouldn't allow me to do any more, even though I realized he had no gun. I drove back to Tulsi, picked him up, and drove him down south in search of the criminal. We eventually left it alone, and I dropped Tulsi off to work. I was so upset at what happened to this young man, a recently married father of one, Tulsi. He could have lost his life for his own belongings. That's where we are now. I gained a friend that day and will try to help him. I will try to help get him a phone to replace the one the robber took from him. Guyana, we must do better. This is broad daylight. Tulsi out working, and some other guys not doing so. Not doing so. Tulsi's out working for himself, his young family, and them guys are after Tulsi and his things. And we're so grateful. We're so grateful that there was Carwin Holland just in the nick of time. What if Carwin did not decide to come home, to transact his business and so on, and not contact us and all of those things? But still, in Canada. Here was this young man being robbed in broad daylight. And some people think all we talk here is negative. But this is the information. This is the information. I just is like sipping on my big red. Mhm. That's what's happening. That's what's happening, people. Believe it or not. And so we say to be cautious out there as you move around, not only in Guyana, wherever you are. Don't be pugly, right? Understand your surroundings and move forward, right? Is still if they are criticism, are they constructive? Right? Are they factual? This is what we're saying. People are being robbed out there, and we got to get it together. Get our stuff together. Please and thank you. Let's get ourselves together. Get your senses. Right? We've been struggling where crime is concerned. Listen, yesterday, we were making some strides before, and then them boys come back, and then everything's set back because them criminals know criminals when they see them. Criminals recognize criminals. And that's what's happening. Carla Washington, what we said. Who we upset now? Donna Liverpool, good to see you there. Kurt Heidekin, good to see you there as well. That's just some of the information at hand. Folks, as we speak, there are protesters, rights farmers, outside of Freedom House in Anna Regina. And we were covering some of that yesterday. In front of Freedom House in Anna Regina. And they are making their voices heard. Well, we can get vexed because them boys talking the things. We can't get vexed. How are we to get vexed? Them boys say, the rice paddy that they're selling to the millers only offering them $50,000 per ton, and they're getting 70,000. And the protesters are there also in Region 6 in Babies, rice farmers also. In their case, again, the millers getting 70,000 as a ton, and they want to give the rice farmers 65, and then boys ain't having it. So as we speak, guys, as we speak, there are some folks who want to call them elements. Some folks who want to call them rabble rousers. Some folks some folks can want to call them all kinds of names, but the facts is the facts. I think we even have some of the audio out of yesterday's protest. We got some of the audio out of yesterday's apologies there. We have some of the audio out of yesterday's protest. But them boys ain't having it. Right? They are out there making their voices. I'm gonna bring you some of that. But currently, I'm watching at a photograph where they got scores of persons outside there in front of the Freedom House there in Anna Regina in Essequibo there, making their voices heard. And folks, I'm gonna pull in Amansa because she's available now, and then I'm gonna pull in some of the and we're going to bring you some of the other issues that are happening out there in just a little bit, folks. So bear with us. Bear with us. We are passing through Amanda. I do think we have her with us. Do we have Amanda Walton Desire, the British subject? Amanda, welcome. How
Hello,
you
Sharon.
doing? We miss you.
How are you?
Man, I'm so great. You're
uh,
trying. We're
I
trying here
I
with a spot of
miss
drink.
you all too.
Amanza, no, I know. When you move around London, you must say, why are you going back to this country for, Amanza? Set up office here. Set up your office. You're you're
I
you're in.
no, I'm saying I am saying I can't wait to
You
reach
miss
back
people
home.
bad. You miss people bad.
Yes,
folks,
yes,
folks,
yes,
folks,
yes.
folks, the lies they tell. I don't know about you.
No,
When I you
love
try it out.
Guyana
You
bad.
try it out.
Love
You try it out.
Guyana bad.
Now with these people here, now with they set on the other side, these
what
trenches.
what does the national song say? For none so fair as can compare with my own
Uh-huh.
native land.
Well, let me
Mm-mm,
tell you
mm-hmm.
this. You say what you want to say. We talking this morning on FYI. You know that little program we have in the morning, FYI, that you're co-host on.
Yes.
So we talking about getting
Uh-huh.
getting registered to vote and so on. One woman put in the comment, get registered and
Right.
and apply for your passport. Get registered and apply for your passport.
Well,
hmm So clearly,
Shared by Guyana is ours. So
yes,
we
it
gotta
is.
build it.
It is. It is. It is. It is.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly, you have your passport in hand, and
Yes.
you are somewhere in London. What have you been up to? Let's talk about that. We fast, and we know a lot of people on Facebook fast, so we want to mind your business. So, talk the things to
Oh
me.
no, so I am here um at the 70th Westminster Seminar,
hmm
which is a seminar that's organized by the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. And that association, which is heavily supported by the UK Parliament, they have been at the forefront of really supporting parliamentary democracies around the world. And so, this being their 70th year, as well as the Queen's Jubilee,
Mhm.
they
Mhm.
are hosting this seminar, which is intended to really engage parliamentarians from around the world
Mhm.
and to look at approaches to parliamentary democracy and practices and procedures. So it's
Mhm.
a really, really packed program, um, a lot to absorb and a lot to look at applying in Guyana. And of course, they make no distinction
Mhm.
between government MPs and opposition MPs because in their paradigm, each member of parliament has a duty, represents a constituency, and therefore has to be
Mhm. Mhm.
given the tools to
Mhm.
function effectively. So, very, very interesting, very, very much packed with information. And of course, you continue to learn and to improve.
Mhm. 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 Very interesting. And we see as part of your work that you're doing there, you would have visited Westminster Abbey. You went to church.
Well, yes, I went to church. What happens is that every year on Commonwealth Day, they celebrate Commonwealth Day with a church service at the Westminster Abbey. And so uh, the delegates were special invitees of the royal family. And so we were able to go into the Abbey and to have a wonderful, wonderful service. I mean, it was quite refreshing to see, artists from around the world, excellent program, excellent coordination. It really does bring home the fact of how much we have to do and how much work there is to be done in Guyana. And
Mhm.
to really indicate that we really do need all hands on deck to be able to do the work. There's no one set of people that have the answers and that can bring us as quickly as we need to be brought into this time into the 21st century. So a lot of work to do, Sharon, and these programs tend to remind you of just how much catching up Diana has to do in terms of development. So
Lots of work indeed. Lots of work indeed, and I'm happy that you're capacity building in a sense in this way, and that you're going to broaden the things you already know and bring some of that back because we need that exposure. We need that exposure. We only
y-
talk about growth and running with the big boys. We want to bamba with the big boys, but it's hard work.
it's hard work. It's hard work, and these are older democracies, and so they would have had a little bit of a head start. But like I keep saying, and I say this all the time, the good thing about coming from behind is that you are able to leapfrog and to avoid the pitfalls that a number of these countries would have had to endure. So if we can only decide to deal with these issues, to deal with the insecurities, to deal with the very toxic political culture that currently pervades, particularly in our National Assembly, then I think we will be headed in.
Apologies there, Manza. Right ahead.
Yes, no, so that was what I was saying. We need to get all hands on deck to be able to get the work done. There is just too much to do, and we are already behind time. I think it will be in the best interests of Guyana for the Ali administration to reach across the aisle in a meaningful way. I think it has become very obvious to all by now that they are not sure about what they're doing. And so reach across the aisle, make use of the expertise that is across the aisle, and together let us do the considerable amount of work that has to be done. Because that is the only way. It is my honest belief that we will have Guyana move forward. We have to have an inclusionary democracy.
Hmm. I'm happy to hear you say that. We're gonna pick up on some of that just before we let you go. We have a fast person who wants to say hi to. I can't talk to you in peace. I'm trying to feel London through this conversation, but we gotta fast. Person he want to say hi
Is
to.
who?
She wants to feel little London too. Is your co-host on the boarding program. You want to know only folks
Juretta.
and Peter at Finance today.
With
Juretta, hello.
that introduction, I was about to give
You're about to hang up the phone, right?
Judy, how are you doing? You
hey
might need to
guys.
move closer to the phone.
Okay, just give me one moment. Let me go
Yes.
closer. I guess.
We're only on an
Is
international
this
call. Just
better?
you go ahead and take your time. Go ahead. Man's gonna keep the queen waiting. Just give you a second. Man's gonna keep the queen waiting. You hold on. But a man,
so
so you
so
know,
I
yeah,
have like about 5 minutes more
yeah,
because we're actually just on a break now. So I have
yeah.
to
So
head back
yeah.
in.
So you know, but
This is better.
go right ahead.
Is this better? I'm asking.
Much better. I hear a little British there
Okay,
too.
great.
Hey Juretta, what's up, girl?
I'm great. I guess well
Good.
folks that is joining podcast this midday. Hi guys. I know that everyone has been asking for a manza for a little while. So we have been dealing with those back and forth
Some people
comments that be
disrespectful.
coming and there's a manza.
We know we best ask if a
Well,
man's disrespectful.
Sherrod actually
Yay.
put me on the spot, you know. He's like, Doretta, where's the manza? I said she's right where she needs to be.
Good answer. Very, very good answer. But I've been following you guys. You know, there's a time difference. So I'm able to follow. I look forward to being home. I was telling Sherrod, no place like my native land. So we'll be happy to wrap up the business here and head right back home. So,
Gr- Great,
but yeah,
great,
like,
great.
clearly we having some interesting times in Guyana. I noticed that there were a lot of fires springing up, not literal fires, but proverbial fires
Yeah.
um, springing up. So, but elections have
Yeah,
consequences. Isn't
yeah,
that what
yeah,
we say?
yeah. Unfortunately, and I want to pick up as you mentioned that
Mm.
we were talking about Ali and the really broad leadership that is needed against this partisan leadership, and it seems to have they're fighting currently. There's that war in Ukraine, but we're fighting a war apparently in all fronts here as well. I'm just going to hasten and through some of the issues that as soon as you got a man, everybody step up, like you to keeping things in check while you. Soon as you got everybody manifesting,
I gotta
everybody
come back
manifesting.
soon. All
Please
right,
and thank
I'll
you.
soon come back.
Please
Soon
and
come
thank
back.
you. So the taxi drivers on the quarantine. They're feeling the squeeze to this economy. They want better. You got the rice farmers at Blackbush Puller. They're protesting. They don't want the $65,000 per ton of paddy and what is being offered by the millers. They're shouting. They say we help put y'all in power, but y'all ain't got time with us. And then on the SK, of course, same rice farmers too. I mean, they get it worse off because they only getting $50,000 per ton of paddy. They want more. And then we see there's some flooding in the Palmer Road, and then there's the issue of just general poverty, honestly. And people are hurting with this economy and they don't know where to turn. They just come off of this the much touted biggest budget ever, lots of oil money being spent. But what it is doing for us? So those are amongst just some of the issues we're trying to grapple with here.
And the bad news is, Sherrod, it is going to get worse. I am never one to lie to our constituents to say, oh, to misrepresent the situation. The reality is that unless the people occupying the seat of government of the executive in Guyana find ways of making sure that help is delivered and relief is delivered directly
Hmm.
Guyanese, we will continue to see what we're seeing in the photographs with the Warao people
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
foraging for food in garbage dumps.
So
That is
sad.
what we are
So
going to
sad.
continue to see. The situation is desperate, it is dire, and what you have is a government that clearly has no idea what to do and do not have the humility to say, look, we need reinforcements. We need help. We need to sit down, reach across the table, reach across the aisle, and come up with solutions for the people. What you have is a government that continues to be pig headed, and they will continue to be pig headed. And it will only get worse for Guyanese. I noticed that the US Embassy has issued a security directive. What does that mean? As poverty increases, crime increases. Everybody, the basic understanding of society understands that once poverty increases, crime will increase.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
the two will go hand in glove. So it is really going to, I fear, deteriorate into a desperate situation. And I think we will just have more of the same to see, unfortunately, because the government does not appear intent
Mm-hmm.
on
Mm-hmm.
bringing relief
Yeah.
to Guyanese. Public servants have not had an
Mm-hmm.
increase, but it is $340 now for a tennis roll, a bag of tennis roll with 5 tennis rolls in it.
Yeah.
Three hundred
Yeah.
and forty
Yeah, and I'm
dollars.
happy you mentioned that. It's $600 a pound for garlic, $600 a pound for they telling us for chicken, $800 a pound of beef. The Linden Entrepreneurial Network. That's your hometown, man. That's my hometown. We know about Bartica so much, but
Hmm.
whole Linden is replaced.
The
That
people have not been
the
paid.
people have not been paying.
Yeah,
This is the Linden
Barco
Entrepreneur.
rep itself.
The Linden thanks Rita. The Linden Enterprise Network staff, some of them walked off the job yesterday, haven't been paid in months. The Ghana people, so militia, the people who are on the forefront with protecting this country, being on the forefront, helping us to fight COVID, they have not been paid.
Right?
They
They
have
they
not been
were
paid
they
for
were they
months.
were instrumental in going into the communities to helping to fight COVID.
Yep,
And
yep.
so,
And in addition to that, let me
you
add
know,
one more. The
mm,
students at the Cyril Potter College of Education says that the Minister of Education boasted having secured money for them for their stipends. They said over 9 months now they have not gotten their stipends, and two budgets later, and
you
so
see,
it's a war on all fronts.
it
But
is, but it
if
comes
it's
because they're
on a
dishonest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Bridget?
Doretta, please go ahead.
Yeah, I was it's interesting that you brought the point of the relationship between crime and poverty altogether, because it is only this morning that I was actually going through some of the comments, because I think it's Big Uncle Gordon, as we refer to him,
Mm-hmm.
had asked the question if people believe that the crime should be blamed on I believe poverty, if you use that word directly, I believe so. But it's interesting to see the comments. A lot of persons don't want to have these conversations, the more difficult conversations. But one of the things I was pointing out under that post is an independent study done by the USA that they were saying the relationship between poverty and crime, basically, like so many other studies, it is there is a direct relationship, but they said however the analysis shows that crime is not driven by poverty alone, but rather by inequality, and countries with high overall levels of poverty do not necessarily have higher levels of crime. They went on to say it is places with high levels of income inequality that typically have the highest levels of crime. And another driver of crime is a breakdown in social norms and values, which results in and is worsened by factors such as unemployment, incomplete education, and a breakdown in family structure and so forth. So there you are with a lot of persons like to dance around this whole conversation altogether, but you cannot get away from the fact that these are the things that contribute to crime in a country. So I wanted to make that point, given the fact that you just mentioned it, that there is a direct relationship, like it or not. And the studies are now showing that it's just not because of poverty, but more so inequality altogether. And I think Diane is a shining example when it comes to inequality, unemployment, and so many other factors that they are highlighting as contributors to crime.
Yep, and and yesterday's podcast, man, so we were talking about the whole issue of whether this is what they call the resource courses, not whether we will have it, but it seems to be that is what we in. And again, we
Yeah.
we learned that this is a phenomenon in countries with an abundance of natural resources such as fossil fuels
Mm.
and certain minerals, but having less economic growth, less democracy, and worse development outcomes than other countries with fewer resources. And that's what we're grappling
It's
with.
poor.
You Look, look,
That's
look
also
at,
not
look at, look at
poor man.
Singapore.
Hmm.
Look at Singapore. It's a country with not a single natural resource. At one point, they even had agreements with Malaysia for water,
Hmm. Hmm.
but they are leading in terms of development because what Singapore did was to make a conscious decision to invest in its human resource.
Hmm.
And the government of Guyana continues to fail to invest in their human resources and in capacity building. We should have been leading the Caribbean in terms of technical and vocational education and training.
Hmm.
We should have been leading the Caribbean in terms of the levels of matriculation to university. The reality is that we continue to suffer the effects of mismanagement of our resources. And the people are beginning to feel the squeeze. But I dare say, Sherrod, like we always say, when the people of Guyana, when we decide that enough is enough and we demand change, we will see change. I think the paradigm that we have is that the people are the servant of the government. And whilst this might not be popular for a politician to say, it is the truth. The government is the servant of the people, not the other way around. And so we have to understand
Hmm.
that they're not above criticism, that they are not above us demanding more because we are entitled to more and we are entitled to better. So that when we talk about GDP growth and how it grow by this percent and that percent, the ordinary man in the street is saying, well, where? How? I am not experiencing that
Yeah.
growth.
Yeah.
That is
Hmm.
not my reality.
Hmm. Yep. Yep.
So we have a
Fantastic point.
window of opportunity.
And
We
right
have a
where you
window of opportunity to get this thing right.
excellent. And I don't think there'll be a listener who will disagree with you on that because we're slipping. We are slipping. I am certain no supporter of the People's Progressive Party thought we'll be struggling the way we're struggling now. It's just under 2 years, just under 2 years. But the point I wanted to make, the other thing I wanted to make, the point I wanted to make, is that right where you are, Amanza, there in London, that's a country that once conquered half the globe, if not more of it. And part of that is because they were all pulling in the same direction, right? And you struggling and want to pull in the same direction with these guys that we have here, but it's shutting you out. How you can do that? You talk one guy, and nobody listens to Irfan Ali. I'm sorry to say, supporters of the incumbent administration who are listening to us, nobody, y'all know, y'all even listening to them because right now y'all know it's just talk. One guy and it's just talk.
And people, look, the supporters of the PPPC administration have to understand that it is okay to disagree with your government. They have to understand that it is appropriate for you to demand more. And it is not betrayal. It is not you being disloyal. It is you understanding that the government is by the people, for the people. They have to serve the people.
Hmm.
And if they are not serving you, then you have to use the power of your vote to put in place, you understand, a
Hmm. Hmm.
government that will
Yep.
indicate that it is capable of serving the people of Guyana. That is what you are entitled to as a Guyanese. That is why our foreparents, the our founder leaders, both Chedi and LFS Burnham, took the point that we must become independent, we must become a republic because we needed to be able to stand on our own 2 feet and to indicate that we can also build a functioning democracy.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys in there are making a joke of all of the sacrifices of the people who have gone before us. They are egotistical, they are greedy. I saw something with they're preying on young men and women on the social, and that is
Yeah.
what we have been
Yeah.
reduced to. And I need for their people and their supporters to understand that it is okay to criticize the government, even though you have supported them.
As a matter of fact, Jarida, I would say, and Amanzo, they have a higher responsibility to hold them accountable. A high, because this is what you would have supported to be where they are, to take the helm and to move things forward. And if you're not getting what you paid for,
Absolutely.
you paid for it at the ballot box, right? You paid for it. If you're not getting it, you have a right to demand more, as Amanzo always says. Demand more.
Yeah,
Demand
so
more.
power concedes nothing without a demand, you know? And so we have
Yeah.
to understand that it is okay, that it's good to be a, but in it's interesting to be in these jurisdictions and to see like, and this would interest Juretta. We had a session yesterday with the Public Accounts Committee. The Public Accounts Committee here, of course, as in Guyana, is headed by the opposition. But the deputy chair is a member of the government, and they do not, nor have they had in the last 70 years, a minority report coming out of the PAC. And that to me was mind boggling because they said, look, it is not about the government being against the opposition. It is about fostering the culture that says that the resources of the people are to be managed properly.
Hmm.
And so, as a government
Hmm.
MP, I have an interest not in defending wrongdoing, but making sure that my people are not wasting money that could be properly allocated elsewhere.
Hmm.
Opposition also has that same interest. And so it is amazing to me to read their reports and to see how year after year they have said for at least the last 7 decades that they have not had minority report coming out of the Public Accounts Committee. They would highlight issues, but in terms of what we see in our uh, Public Accounts Committee, the one-upmanship and the covering and the hiding, it is not there because they have fostered the culture that this is the people money, these are the people's resources, and I would be upset as the government if I realize that public works is wasting money could be put to building a hospital or a school.
Hmm.
So it's not adversarial when it comes to accounting for the people money.
Hmm.
It is about how do we deliver the best to our people. And that is because, Sharon, they are highly institutionalized. And I keep making this point that in Guyana, we have to continue to build our institutions. What the current government is doing is undermining institutions, replacing them with personalities, and putting Guyana on the road to becoming a failed state. That is what will happen when all the institutions break down.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
we are heading down a slippery
And you
slope.
know what we saw there too? We saw respect for rules, respect for laws, because this is a country quite recently when one of the ministers, I think one of the secretaries under the prime minister, was found to have hosted or been part of a party during COVID. He had to go. He had to go. Right? This is not protecting your own and this
Precisely.
kind of nonsense. Right? When the people had enough, they had enough, and they changed governments very quickly if that's what they need to do. And there's some things that we can work. But Amanda, before we let you go, tell us in a general way,
Yes.
what do you make of the UK? What do you make of London? And those of us who are gonna follow in your footsteps there, or what should we look for? Things,
Well,
places you must see, or things you must
it's
do.
it's
And we know you aren't on
well,
vacation
look,
there; you're working.
Oh well, the good Lord has blessed me to come to this place a number of times. So
Hmm.
um of course it's very attractive, but again I may be different in that while it's good to look at, none of it holds sway
Hmm.
for me. I am more anxious to return home, to get the work done.
Hmm.
So that is where my focus is. Of course, there are the usual landmarks, the palace and the eye and so on and so forth. But it's a working trip, so I won't be able to visit those sites again. But it is what it is. We've come to work. It's a packed program, so um, just looking forward to being back home.
Great, great, great. Amanda, really good having you. I don't know if Twitter wants to add anything before we let you go.
Actually, I'll just say, just get home safely. Be safe where you are. We are anxiously awaiting your return on FYI. Most
Yes,
Hmm.
I
important,
miss y'all.
And I will
Be
of
back
only
course.
soon. I'll be
say,
back soon.
please keep in touch wherever you go. Wherever you go. And listen
Yes.
to me, you can't go overseas and bring back little prags. So I say, you know, don't come back here and bring little prags. And we guy in these
I
true
go,
true.
Kim.
God gave you little
I
things.
got you, Sharon.
God
I
gave you
got
little
you.
things.
I got you. I got you.
God gave you little things. Thanks for stopping by, man. So let
Good.
us know how you're doing, where you are.
Take
You're
good care,
in
guys.
good old
All
London.
right, great. Take care. Bye
Thanks,
bye.
Ruthie, for stopping by as well.
Have a good day. Sharon.
Yep, you as well. That's it with Amanda and Teresa. We got a couple things we're gonna run through, guys, before we let you guys go, because a lucha continua. The struggle continues. A lucha continua. We're gonna be touching base with Amanda as she does her work there in London, and on our behalf. On our behalf, it's gonna make us better. It's gonna make us better. She's gonna come back and she's gonna share what she's learned there in London. And when I go to London too, I can come back and lay out. When I go to, I can come back. But folks, as I said, a number of things we're following on a number of fronts. And, something has got to give. Something's got to give. I want to pick up on, in particular, what we were discussing earlier with these teachers at the Sarah Potter College of Education. They were told that their stipends were provisioned for through the ministry in 2 budgets back, and now 9 months later, they're wondering what has happened. What has happened? And a lot of of angst where this is. I mean, the folks go there and they're told this is what you're signing up for. You're going to be full time and you're going to get a stipend. You're going to be trained as teachers and so forth. And then you're fulfilling part of your obligation. Why we gotta be like this? Do what you said you will do. Do what you said you will do, right? And it's just a way in which we have, but we got to change that. We got to change that. You mean with all this wealth and so forth, right? From the natural resource fund, the oil and gas industry, all this wealth and opulence that we have, is only some people going to enjoy it. This rising tide and floating all boats, right? And so we are with the students there, and we call on the authorities to make this right. We call on the authorities to make it right. We saw a post on social media that folks were sharing, in which Priya Malik Chan was hailing this as a success for the governments being able to secure from the National Assembly monies for the trainee teachers, their stipends, so that the stipends can be met. And then these many months later, how people get to work? Huh? How people get home? There's another stupid law in the public sector, a stupid regulation and policy. And I know Tabitha Ali was trying to break down this wall. We got to wait 3 months when you become a member of the public sector to get paid. What madness is this? What madness is this? If you work one day and you don't go back, you're entitled to that money. 3 months. How people eat it in 3 months? You see, we're creating criminals in this country. We creating and manufacturing thieves and scams in the public sector with these kinds of policies. How people must exist for 3 months, 9 months. These trainee teachers waiting. How do you get to class? How do you get home? How do you survive? Huh? 9 months without money. What badness is this here? We got to catch yourself quick, man. And don't tell me nonsense. You got um, strategic leadership. Demonstrate it, right? Demonstrate it. Don't tell me you love me. Show me. Show me how much you love me. Demonstrate it. Foolishness, man. 3 months before you get paid. 9 months you as a trainee teacher. Nothing can happen. People are working in the Ghana's people militia out there for months and then getting a cent. Madness. People at the London Enterprise Network. It's chasing y'all, chasing people. You don't want to fire them, but you know if you don't pay them, they're going to leave. Nonsense. Wicked. Look, folks, hold my shot. Hold my shot, somebody. Hold my shot this good midday before we spoil we lunch. Hold my shot. How we can operate like that? How can we operate like how many times in 9 months? Huh? Soon as the sugar workers strike, they get something. I'm just showing let there be equal, let there be equality and equity, right? And I've walked you guys through how much money they dash in the black hole that is the sugar industry. And to what avail? Not one single sugar sitting open. Wales crashed and burned, and more gone the same way. And the others gonna follow. And the teachers, oh, it's nice talk, Education month and all the fancy things and we value with teachers. Nonsense. We are paying the training teachers. What's this, man? Make it right, people. Make it right. And again, this just a smattering of the issues we're contending with. You know, right? Those of you in the diaspora, and you're saying, "Oh, them people doing nice." Well, come back now. Fire the work with you, then come back if you think it's a nice. Fire Uncle Sam work. Come back and see if it's nice. Huh? The Nurses Association dismantled because nurses leave and they broke up the whole thing. So you can't even get your little certification for beat out. You do your training, you do your time, you pay back your money. You can't even get your little certification because they feel nurses leaving and places like London and so forth, taking the nurses. People don't run from good. Give me a break. People don't run from good. You tell me, you just land in some foreign country, you earning 5,000 US a month. You ain't gonna stay? You ain't gonna stay 5,000 a month, no questions asked, good living standards. You want to come back here? Huh? I love my country, but I ain't want to starve to death for it. Lord of mercy. I love it. I ain't want to starve. What we talking about? Huh? Because we're patriotic, we must stay and starve and kill ourselves and punish we family? Because people love y'all? Right? And so I say to young people, you get the opportunity, go. Live the dreams that you have. Live the visions that you got. I want to stay here, yes. I'm the people's militia, the Ghana people's militia. I want to stay here. You understand me? I want to sing that song. I want to build that land that belongs to me. 9 months you pay me though. How long I can stay and build it? 9 months you don't pay me. 3 months in the public sector, you don't pay me. How long I can stay and build it? You want to build, but you don't give me no bricks. You don't give me no mortar. You say, texture and build them. You want to give a little mud for mix with the straw. What are we talking about? And then you people are going to go and say, oh, you're not responding to critics? God knows you can't respond to critics because you know we're right. With the foolishness you're doing. With the nonsense you're doing. So it's a war on all fronts. It's a war on all fronts. These guys are fighting locally. A war on all fronts. You got the warriors. You heard a man to talk to them. These are people who have been displaced by the situation right there in Venezuela. And Venezuela is such an example. Lots of oil. But how the economy doing? How the people doing? And so they paddle in canoes. People don't run from good. Paddle in canoes. Right? To get to where they need to go. And they're here. Huh? They're here. Right? Well, they can be treated better than we treated, and they're getting a real terrible treatment. However bad it got, we always had a little to share with people. However bad it got. And these people in a bad spot, and we got to help them. The same way we got to help the people in the sugar industry who want the money that is owed to them as Blairmont. Same way we got to treat the rice farmers who want what is rightfully theirs. I am shocked. I knew, let me tell you this, that these guys weren't going to do much, but oh God, I didn't expect this madness. I didn't expect this madness. And you know, the PPP reminds me of some people. Everybody's always the problem, you know. Some of us like that. Everybody is always the problem. It is never us. It's the global chain supply issue, the global chain supply crisis that driving up prices. And when they're working, oh, is the war in Ukraine that driving up prices. When they're working, is something else that driving up prices. It is never them, right? These were, you see, when they were when they weren't in government, they were the czars of the economy. They knew exactly what it needed to get it going. 2 years later, right? They're still cranking it like a old snow cone carrot and walk. They're still cranking it. And at some time, you got to remember, after the first person left you, the second, the third, the fourth, the problem is you. And as a man, I have to accept it in my own life. Sometimes the problem is you. Don't parse it, don't spin it. It's you. And you got to take that responsibility in your hand and say, you know what? I can change my ways. And that's what this government got to do. Everybody, this is the problem. Oh, it's Yak Mahadio and Article 13 group. Oh, is the Ghana human rights. Those critics, they don't have elections. Where the SOP there? When it's not the Ghana Human Rights Association they're fighting, it's somebody else. It's the parliamentary opposition. Oh, it's only they don't want progress. Everybody wrong but you. But how it looking for y'all? Well, I guess the rice farmers wrong. The sugar workers wrong. The taxi drivers on the quarantine, they wrong. How long are we gonna go like that? How long? How long? How long? Huh? Everybody's the problem. Sometimes it's you. You's the problem. You gotta be mature to accept that. Sometimes you's the problem. Right? You's the problem. But I want to tell the folks listening to us, especially some of the supporters of these jagabats and trench crappos. Some of the supporters, my aunt told me something years ago. I'm going to share it with you guys. Years ago. It didn't make sense then. But I promise you, you're going to understand it better by and by. By and by. You're going to understand it better. Right? She sent me an email. Can't remember what. I think it was just something she was forwarding to me. But it made so much sense in hindsight. Listen to the wisdom now. Here it comes. She says sometimes you got to know how much to give. Right? How much to give. When to stop giving and when to walk away. Right? And some of y'all, you give all your goodwill, your votes and everybody to some of these jagabats and trench crappos. And they turn back now. Even want to hear you plight. I want a taxi driver. Yesterday in one of the clips we played, say he went to the Ministry of Tourism concerning the fares. He said 12 times. 12 times. The man left till Barbies and come down to the ministry. He said the minister's never seen him yet. From one run around to the next. One run around. Sometimes you gotta know how much to give, when to stop giving, and when to walk away. You know, Ayanla Vanzal says, now what people do to you that matters. Ayanla Valzan. You must pick up one of her books. You must go in Austin's 1-2 times the man. Pick up some books and let me broaden with knowledge together. She said, it's not what people do to you that matters. It's what you allow them to do. And we're allowing these guys to do some things, We are allowing them to do some things. 12 times this man went to see the minister. And this little country, this little 2x4 with 5 away. You tell me you can't see the minister once? Minister can't return a call, send you a letter, an email, nothing? Bring you into the office to talk for 2 minutes? But we got time to fly till to Nairobi, Kenya to make people think that we're doing something. If you can't be nice to people right here Proverbs now. You can't be right who you're seeing. You're going to love people who you're seeing. Give us a break, folks. Give us a break. That being said, we got to do better. Together, we got to do better. We got to do better. You got to know when to give, how much to give, when to stop giving, and when to walk away. I don't know who needs to hear that. Up in the here, sir. Somebody needs to hear that. You got to know when to give, how much to give, when to stop giving, and when to walk away. Something's got to give. Something's got to give. We're in a bad spot, right? Those of you who are people of faith, keep us in your prayers. We need lots of that, right? We heading into a very holy period where we recognize the death, burial, and resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ. Pray for these people, right? We only need angels. We need God Himself, right? God Himself, we need Him for help with some of these problems that we got. Some of them self-inflicted. Hmm? Because you give too much when you went in a polling booth. Now you gotta stop giving and walk away. That being said, folks, it's our privilege having each and every one of you here with us. A day after day, day after day. Rarely we miss a podcast since we've started. This is the 96th podcast since we have started. I think we missed about two. 96th podcast since we have started. You got 3 months in there. 3 months and change. We out here. People, we committed to bringing you guys the information that you so deserve, guys, and desire. We committed to it. Help us to move along nonetheless. Help us come on board and partner with us and help us to continue to grow from strength to strength. Good to have each and every one of you guys. You know we're available via several platforms for you to contribute to keep our programs moving. We're available via Zelle and PayPal. We're available via Cash App. We're available via MMG, all for your convenience. All for your convenience. We're available via MoneyGram and Western Union. You want to know how you can contribute in a meaningful way and help us move forward? You can WhatsApp our MMG number, send a WhatsApp message there, 627-6963. Tell us which of the methods is convenient to you. We tell you how to go ahead and do that. 627-6963. Great to have each and every one of you here with us, guys. Have a fantastic, fantastic rest of the day. We're going to see you guys back here at 8 p.m. this evening when we in the ring. Ping, 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 ping. Ping, 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 ping. Great having you guys. Good to see you, Marlon King and Roxanne Aaron. Patricia Kissoon. Good to see you as well. And Elizabeth Narain, good to see you too. And Tasha Selat, good to see you. Edward Gonzalez and Ingrid King, all you fantastic, beautiful people. That's our time. Say bye-bye to your friends you have been chatting in the comment section with. Say get to the trench crappers and and the juggerbuts in the comments, folks. And have a great afternoon. Go ahead and be great, all of you. Go ahead and be great out there. We're going to see you guys back here this evening in the ring, folks. Take it easy on yourself. Be gentle with yourself, guys, and stay safe. And stay safe, right? And you might want to watch Starbucks and border markets before you go. If the Americans are to be believed. That being said, stay safe, guys. See you guys back this evening. Stay safe.